Hey, it's Dorleen. Welcome to my channel and my creative life. I am going to be creating a really fun project using products from Genly Schoolcraft website. And I'm going to have a link in the information box as well as a coupon code. So if you decide to purchase something from there, I'm going to be making a Waterfall gift card holder. And I'm going to be using stamps that I got from Genly Schoolcraft called Christmas Wishes, and it's from Kaiser Craft. Now, I am not going to show you or talk about the dimensions or the score lines because I actually got this project by going to a blog called Stamp With Peggy, and she has written directions that will help you create this card. Now, the only reason why I'm not putting it in my blog and on this video is I feel like I learned from her, I got all the information for her, and I feel like it's kind of not giving credit where credit's due. So I hope that's okay with you. I think I'm just trying to be a little weary about something like that because she obviously worked hard on putting this all together, and it really did help me because I probably could have figured it out because I've done waterfall cards before, but why recreate the wheel, right? That's the reason why we're on YouTube or on these kind of Pinterest and things like that. So I'm just cutting all these papers, cardstock and pattern paper. Now I have two colored cardstocks and I use two different shades of green. I also have white, and two pattern papers. Now these are just from my stash. I don't even know where they came from, what company or anything like that. I'm going to be using the poinsettia plant or flower and the Merry Christmas stamp for this particular project. Now I'm going to be using one piece of white paper. I'm stamping the poinsettia straight on here because this is going to be what's decorating the front of the card. I'm going to call it a card. I'm not even sure if that's really what it is. But, and then the other ones I'm just going to be stamping on this strip. Now I'm using the Real Red ink from Stampin' Up. I don't know if all red ink is the same way, but this is really, really juicy. And I wanted to stamp first so it had plenty of time to dry. Now I do end up stamping another flower because I forgot that I needed one to decorate the inside, but I'll do that later. Now this piece right here is the portion that is inside the card that shows the sentiment, obviously. Now you're going to notice later, I probably should have put that just a little bit lower, but you can see it, the final project, so I'm not too upset about it. Now, one thing I'm going to mention and you're going to notice is that I keep taking my guillotine and I'm just kind of doing the edges. You're even going to see me pull out my scissors and do it because my bigger cutter, I need the blade replaced because it keeps giving me all this fuzz. It's just making me crazy, but I just haven't had a chance to go to the store yet. But anyhow, so when you see that, just know I'm giving my paper a little bit of a haircut like you see right here. But the hard part is just making sure that everything's still straight. Now, I will tell you too, just a little bit of a tip. Once you do the score lines, now you really want to use your bone folder, and you also want to make sure that every time that you fold on the fold lines or the score lines, that you want to make sure that your paper is still straight and it's still, along the same lines, because it can get a little crooked, which is weird because you're using a scoreboard, or at least I am. It just sometimes just doesn't lay right. Now what I'm doing here is I'm marking a 1/2 inch on both sides. I probably only really need to do it on one side, but I'm creating a tag look on the bottom of this, and this is the pull tab part. So I cut that first corner, and then I'm just going to use that other little piece just to use as my pattern to make sure that both sides are the exact same shape. So it is a tag and not anything really wonky. I'm going to use my crocodile to cut a hole in the middle or punch a hole in the middle. I decided to use that because I wanted the hole just a little bit smaller. I mean, the larger one would have been fine, but I just thought I'm going to use a small little metallic ribbon, which I'll show you towards the end too. But that's so that when the gift card recipient, when they pull the waterfall, you need something to help pull it. Although the tab probably would have been okay, but ribbon's so much prettier. Now in this portion here, Peggy, I'm assuming that's her name, she instructed just to put the pattern paper directly on this card. Now part of me was like, ooh, I kind of wanted to make it like a pocket, but the edges, if you notice, were so thin. I thought, well, you know what, it's probably just safer to do it the way that she had planned on doing it, because like I mentioned, she did all the measurements. I'm not questioning it because she did the work for me. So thank you, Peggy. Again, I'm going to have the link to her blog and also the link to the Genly Schoolcraft store So, and my blog and also my Instagram account. So everything you need is going to be in the detail box below. I'm just putting down the pattern papers as directed in the instructions, just using my ATG to put them down. I believe she uses liquid adhesive a lot. I just, sometimes I just feel like it oozes too much, and I have pretty strong adhesive, and I know that's a smart choice to use strong adhesive. So if you don't have like an ATG or even like the red tape or the tearaway tape, liquid adhesive would also work. Just make sure you don't put too much over it on the edges. So right now I'm just putting the little pieces that are basically holding the gift cards right up to the score lines. Now, not on the score line, just like a hair below it, because you do want them to bend and the mechanism to work correctly. So there's 4 pieces, 3 that hold gift cards. Yeah. And then the one is the front one, which is going to hold just more decoration. Or you can just do whatever you want. So I'm going to put a poinsettia there, but you'll see that later. Now I am going to trim this just a little bit because I felt like it's just a little too long, especially because where my new tag shape, maybe I went a little too high on it, but you may not need to trim it. I did. And I'm just, again, using some double-sided tape or with my ATG gun to adhere it in the middle, and that's pretty much it for that mechanism. Now there's going to be another piece that's the part that kind of holds it all together or holds it to the base. There's already score lines 1/2 inch on each side. I'm just going to adhere it to the back of the multi-scored area, if that makes sense. So the tab's going in. So all you want to do is put a little bit of adhesive on that top edge, right in the inside portion. Again, I'm going to put a lot because you don't want it to fall off. I'm going to center it and make sure it is completely even with the bottom. And that's really important. And that's it for that part. Now, I'm going to find a white piece of paper, and that is the base that I'm going to be putting this whole thing on. So remember, the back of the mechanism, the green color, is not adhered to this white piece at all. The only thing that's adhered are those 2 little tabs right there on the left and right. And before I stick it to the white, I'm just kind of making sure it is centered, which it is, which is nice. Like I said, she did the work for us. And see how you just pull it? Oh, I just love that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use glue dots, like removable glue dots, to put the gift cards in there. Now this is a really sticky part. So what I did is after putting my adhesive, I used my fingers to kind of hold it, give me a space between that white paper and that dark green, make sure it's centered, make sure everything's even, and then I kind of moved my hand and then smoothed it down. And I hope that makes sense, because when you're using sticky tape like that and it happens to just drop on something, it's staying there. So you want to make sure that you want it to land where it's supposed to land. So now I'm just going to adhere those pattern papers to the front, and this is pretty much it except for the decorating part. Now I mentioned having a band, or maybe I didn't, I don't remember. So if you've never done a belly band, now what you want to do is, again, score on the score lines, which again, just go to Peggy or Stamp with Peggy to get those dimensions. You're only going to put adhesive where the band meet up, I guess is the right word, because you don't want to adhere the band to the card, because otherwise you won't be able to slip it off, because this is supposed to slip up and down, and it's just kind of holding everything in. I am going to put a poinsettia right there in the front, like I mentioned before, but I'll work on that later. So right now I'm going to put it to the side, and now I'm working on the poinsettia. So I already stamped these in that really juicy red, like I mentioned, and I decided I'm going to, for my front, I'm going to decorate it with a circle or layered circles in the front. Instead of having some kind of fancy shape, I'm just pulling out my circle cutter. This is something I've had forever. As a matter of fact, this is one of the first tools that I bought when I started scrapbooking. And I don't want to cut the flower out, so I'm just putting the edges everywhere the flowers aren't, or the petals that are sticking out aren't. And then I'm just going to fussy cut around it. And that way it gives me like a wreath look. And I absolutely love that. I have 2 other poinsettias, like I mentioned. I'm actually going to fussy cut those out. But before I do that, I am now cutting layers to hold that wreath. I'm going to call it wreath for lack of a better word. And if you have this cutting system, there's 3 different blades, and they all kind of fit within each other. And so that's what I did there. So I'm just giving it some dimension and more color, which I love. I love that red addition to it. So once I fussy cut all these out, I'm going to grab a alcohol marker that I have. Now this is a tri-blend marker, so I'm going to use all three colors. Why not? I always like to put a little piece of paper underneath because sometimes it soaks through depending on how thick your white paper is. Look at, I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm basically putting the light one down first, the medium one just a little bit here and there, and then I'm going to do the dark one later at the end. The nice thing about alcohol markers is they just blend. I mean, you let them sit for a little bit and they're going to look a little bit different. It's just all going to blend once it dries. Super nice, super fun, nothing fancy. Now this is a gold glitter pen, and I'm just putting a little bit of gold in the middle and then around the edges, and then I'm getting a bottle of my gold stickles, which you can use like a glitter glue, anything like that, to add some dimension to these flowers and also more sparkle, because you know what, it's the holidays and we love sparkle. I'm not a big glitter person, but there definitely is a time for glitter, and I felt like this was one of them. So I'm going to put this aside to dry because it does take a minute, especially for that stickles, to dry, and I don't want to accidentally touch them. So I'm kind of playing around with how I think I'm going to want it, and it's pretty much going to look like that, let me tell you. So I'm going to layer these down. Just make sure that when you do put the green, lighter green on the darker green, you only put adhesive in the middle because, again, you don't want it sticking to the actual card. And then I did use some foam dimensions on the poinsettias just to puff it up just a little bit. I did stamp a For You in black. I have a completely different stamp set for that, and I added a little bit more of that glitter marker around the edges, just again to add more glitter. But isn't this so fun? I hope you agree. Give me a thumbs up if you agree. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I do post at least 2 videos a week. One is always scrapbooking, and the other is whatever it is I'm creating in the Command Center, which is the name of my blog and also my craft room. So again, I do hope you like this. The link to Genly Schoolcraft, which is a website that sells budget-friendly crafting products, and I'm telling you, you are going to love it. You're going to find new and slightly used products. New items a lot of them are like retired products that they no longer sell, companies no longer sell, or sometimes, somebody donates, whatever it is, but they're brand new and they are inexpensive, very budget friendly, and a great variety, dies, stamps, oh my gosh, everything. So if you haven't had a chance, go check them out. I really highly recommend it. Also, you can use my name, Dorleen, as a coupon code and get an additional 10% off. Again, all this information will be in the details in the box. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.